Okay, this is going to be a series of chats, talks, explanations about existence, um, what to do with existence, and how to actually resolve it and go on about your business, resolving the questions of why we're here, what should we do here. So let me just start out by defining a couple of things, talking about a couple of things. Let me say first of all that I'm doing this because I'm just sick. I'm sick and tired. I'm so tired of watching all these people talk about things. They don't really they don't really know for sure. They're making it. They're mentally. They're coming to this conclusion, that conclusion. They don't really know, and they carry on and on with this stuff. And it's possible to know what this life is about. It's possible to know and experience the reality of being here and what it's for and what to do with it. It's not that difficult, really. But there's a few necessary cautions and things that one needs to be very careful about in this pursuit, and without exception, these people have failed to be that careful enough. They've made assumptions. They've come to conclusions. They've. So I'm gonna give, I don't know, maybe it'll take 7 talks or several talks, and I'm gonna try to keep this very. This is a simple course in um, existence. And first of all, I would like to say that I would prefer, and I like to use the word existential questions that you might have. And because my idea of the word naively was that, it meant, the questions you have about what existential, it must mean what you like to, what questions you have about existing. I mean, why are we here? Who made all this stuff? Where did it all come from? Where are we going? What's going to happen to me? And and further, like, there's something. I mean, like, I don't remember nothing. I mean, did something happen to me before? And where did I come from? Stuff like that. Why is grass green? I thought that's what it meant, but looking it up, what do I find? I know existential is an atheistic approach. It makes an assumption right off the bat. There's nothing but what you know about and what you can figure out, and there isn't anything else. So the heck with anything else like that. And all these things. I was just looking on Wikipedia. My God, all the different things. Look up existence, or you go on and on and on and on and on. Stuff. Some of which is some good stuff, I suppose, and some not good at all. Most of it's delusional. It's off track. It's missing the simple reality of life. Life is not complicated. It's simple. This is going to be a simple thing. Also, I wanted to use, because you could say things like well, I have existential angst. I mean, there you go, aren't you something? And and people have respect for you because right off the bat they think, well, he knows something that I don't. He can think about things that I can't think about, or they feel equally, yes, I understand what you mean. I understand. But I'm just an ordinary guy, and I'm going to give you an ordinary look at, um, the truth. It's just, far more simple than these people would make out to. far more easy to understand than most of these characters have all these complex things. Oh, no. Okay. So first of all, here we go. So first of all, existence. The word exist. Let me just say something. Well, I'm going to do this. Okay, exist means to stand out. It comes from two Greek words, means to stand out. What stands out? So it's kind of a coarse, thing, but it's good enough. Sure, what stands out? So, in other words, what stands out to you? I mean, like, what are the main things? Your existence. I mean, what stands out? In other words, you're feeling, you're seeing, you're smelling, you're not aware, you are aware, you're vaguely conscious, semi-conscious, or you're conscious, or you're, particular, you have different kinds, a few, not many, mostly just the same, conscious, sure, yeah, I'm conscious. Okay. So, what I'm going to talk about is, how to get through this predicament, this lack of understanding. We're going to try to come to understanding, a real understanding, which I'm going to kind of give you, some things, and you look at them yourself, because what we're going to do is we're not going to base things on a mental picture and concepts or anything else. We're going to base things on experience. What an individual, a singular, a being, a person, one of many, what you experience. We're going to use what you experience, with perhaps the odd caution, of course, sure, but not overly so. We're going to experience what you experience as being the basis for what you should conclude. If you're in a forest, it gets really hot there, and you see flames, and then you feel pretty bad. You can pretty much conclude that, you should leave that place and get somewhere where it's not that hot, because boy, that hot, it felt as if you kept that heat up. Why, you might just, not be able to tolerate it, and might die. That wouldn't be good. So, everything that we're going to be doing here is going to be based, we're going to come to is going to be based on your own experience. Now, we're not going to try to be real, dupty and fine and careful, too careful. I'm going to be very careful in being simple, but I'm trying to be all intricate and involved in it. So this is going to be something you can just listen to this. You'll be able to follow me perfectly well, hopefully. I keep this simple and direct. So when you come here, you experience different things, don't you? You see, you feel, you taste, you touch. You don't have any questions. You're too busy having experiences. Wow, how hot how warm it gets. How much fun it is to run. And if you're a girl, I don't know, you have your experiences, what fun fun is to do certain things that you like to do. And you go along like this for quite a while, quite a few years. A lot of time passes, and pretty soon, your brain, your mind, the mind. I call the mind the voice of the brain. Brain gets, is a center place. It gets a lot of information from the body, from instruments in the body reporting to it. A lot of data. Son said the other day, some scientists had said that there's more operations go on in your brain in 1 second or something like that, I think it was, than there are stars in the universe. Amazing. So the brain, we have a brain. We have an instrument up here that's a pretty cool computer, and I think that most people would agree that it's even more advanced than these fancy computers. Hard to believe how fast they are and everything. But in some respects, yeah. So you've got that thing working. Well, it starts to get a lot of data and categorize it. And so that categorization, this is like when when it rains, these certain things happen. When it snows, these things happen. When I sleep, these things. You get a bunch of information. Brain just sort of automatically puts it into categories. And so then you have comparisons to make, or there can be comparisons made. So you yourself can, because your mind will be continually differentiating. If you have intelligence, in other words, the ability to distinguish between two things, you'll be making comparisons, or your mind. There'll be comparisons. Well, I like, and so you'll feel closer to some things, more in resonance with them, and less with others. You like the taste of this, you don't like that. So all these kind of differences, different categories that your brain has been collects information on practically continually through your body and your eyes and all the other places it's getting information, data from, and categorized. So pretty soon it's pretty hard not to kind of get caught up in that little business there. I mean, yesterday you were just playing with your ball and you were having fun with it. But as soon as your brain starts to, as the whole category that things come from other things, then at some point that kind of activity of your brain is able to kind of intrude itself into your own consciousness. And say, well, I wonder where the ball comes from. What's the ball made out of? All these things are kind of derivatives of things, operations that building up in your brain. So, let's take a look at the experience that you're having, what you actually know. My grandfather used to say, if you see it, believe it. And, it's the thing that can be mentally attacked, of course, very quickly, but it has a truth in it, doesn't it? Because if you throw the ball and you feel certain things in your body, and you see where the ball goes, and if you can throw it in a certain way, if it goes a certain place, you can feel the ball, smell the ball, and all those things are things that you know from your own experience. They exist. And some idiot is going to come along and say, well, does the ball really exist? These people are playing games with your mind. We're going to keep this simple. Yeah, you pick up the ball, you throw the ball, and you do all these things I was talking about. For you, and for somebody who's watching you, yeah, there's the ball. That's something that exists. And there are other things too that are puzzling. You have dreams, and some of the dreams are just, absurd and ridiculous. And some of them, though, occasionally you have dreams that seem quite real. Some people can have dreams that are more real. They're real to them. I mean, they live the dream. They're living in that dream. They're having a real experience in their dream. So I suppose you could say that about a lot of Americans today. Oh, we're having a hard time right now, so I'm making jokes, a lot of jokes. But, so you can base things on your experience, and really that's the only sound thing that you have. What you see, what you know to be true. You know what kind of a mother your mother is. You have lots of experience with your mother. And let's say you have, a good mother. Well, mother's a hard worker and looks after you, and dad is, a hard worker. Usually, these people, your parents, are usually working. They're doing things. And he is strong and teaches you how to behave. How you should behave in life. And gives you good advice. Anyway, you know these people perfectly well. If somebody else comes along, tries to describe them and everything, at some point you're going to say, no, that's not it. You don't get it. Why? Because they had a different experience. They had the experience of not knowing your father. Now they're trying to use what their brain knows from their own experience to figure out, things about your father or your mother. So early on, you see, this doesn't really work well. So the first thing that we're going to rest on is we're going to say that your experience is the best, your own experience, what you have experienced. That's the best foundation upon which to build whatever view you might have of this life. Now let's just take a quick look at how that works. Let's say that you're out in the field and you're a young child and you see something you think is quite beautiful, full of color, a meadow. And in the meadow you see, where I'm going with this, you see some green grass. Now, do you really want to know anything about what you're seeing, or are you just seeing it? You're seeing it. It's nice, wonderful somehow. Somehow it's wonderful. Why not just leave it at that? But if your mind develops, it's kind of gets to having a life of its own, so it wants to know, because there are a lot of empty spaces in the category structure that it forms up. So, and it finds out that there's an advantage. I don't know what it finds. I don't want to talk too much about it. There's, a kind of a tendency to want to fill in the blanks, because then you can have a complete set, a resolution. Brain doesn't have to keep going. So it's just, okay, why is that grass? Why is it green? Why is it green? Is that thing like that? And this is really the point where everything starts to fall apart for you in terms of actually being able to understand what life is all about. Because your parents will tell you, they'll tell you something. They'll say, well, it has chlorophyll in it, Jimmy. Or they'll say, well, God made it green, Tim. Or they'll say, I don't know, who cares why it's green? Let's play ball. Or they'll say any number of things. And, although it's rare, you might have a thought of your own. You might have the temerity to have your own thought. Well, I think it's green because frogs jump around and they leave little green stuff. And that's all over. That's what you say. Some silly, wonderful but silly notion about things. You have your own notions. And there used to be a lot of people like that. And they'd say, well, the guy has a kind of a funny notion about things, And, at Mantid, he had come up with some, possibly rather ignorant. But he at least tried, didn't he? He tried to figure it out for himself. Maybe not such a bad thing after all. And eventually we learn how to do that in a way that isn't so silly, and then we can become, or we might get involved in the process of science. But that's another subject. So, rather than to be careful, let's be careful about just basing everything on our own experience, on what we really experience, and then what we really understand from it. So I'm going to talk about that in a second, but let's say that we experience a pretty field, and there are things about it that we don't know. So let's just say that we're not going to accept, at least not seriously, not really. Sure, it might be fun to hear people talk about why something is like this and like that. It's kind of a distraction. It's kind of interesting. But we're not going to get sucked into that and believe that is the truth, because the thing of it is, in terms of our own experience, we don't know why it's green. We don't know why things have colors and other things don't have colors, and we don't know. We don't know. I mean, imagine what it would be like to actually know how a thing started, and then became, and why it became green. My God. That would be something. We can make simple little things, little toys and blocks. They're very, very simple. We can figure out. See, I can show you how it works. You put this here and it works. You put this here and you put this here like this, and then it makes this thing go around. So you can understand. Very, very simple. It's not too simple, but it's simple enough. This works like that. That works like that. And basically, at the beginning of everything that human beings generally understand, there's a few things that are pretty fine. Mostly it's very, very simple. I mean, the top science day, here's what we're going to do, smash these two guys together as fast as we can, and that way we get more stuff come out. We can see what that stuff is, then we can figure out what its characteristics are, and what it does in the universe. They're still pursuing this. Or for some reason, they feel they must have to know everything about how everything works. But the truth is, sometimes it's fun just to eat a good meal, and having a good time with it, and not have to know every single detail about everything. Maybe there's some things you wouldn't be too happy about to know. Some of them, maybe the cow you're eating, speaking of the contemporary scene, wasn't really treated that well. Maybe you would have really liked that cow. Now you're sorry that he died, but you don't know any of this stuff. Good cow tastes good too. Quite tasty. So, common sense comes in. Common sense can be considered. It's accumulation of your own experience that tells you what works and doesn't work. So, we're going to start with the saying that no, let's not ask that question. Or ask the question, but don't take the answer seriously. Don't accept something that comes out of maybe a knowledge or an experience that somebody else has had. You can respect it. You can appreciate it. You can admire it. But don't accept it yourself. Go back and look at your life and see, what did you actually experience? On the basis of that experience, what do you really know? And by that I mean, what would you stake your, if you value your life, which hopefully you do. Because what kind of a sensible person wouldn't value their life? Because you want to kind of try to figure out if there's something you need to do here, or what's going on before you end your life. Because maybe there's an end of an opportunity there, and maybe you can figure things out, or maybe there's something you need to do here. Kind of seems that way, and mostly, and so you want to kind of have as long of a time as you can with that. Get as much information as you can, experience as much as you can, so you can understand as much about it as it seems reasonable. I'm not talking about extremes here. I understand. But so if you value your life, then what things in experience do you have? You experienced that you would stake your life on, sincerely, honestly, and say, well, I'll tell you what. I know this guy did this thing. I saw him do it, and I'd stake my life on. And not to put too fine a point on it, because of course there are going to be people in the modern world right away say, yeah, what about magician? You stake your life on that? Boy, you'd be sorry then. But I'm just talking about regular people, regular experience. You watch how dogs behave, and you watch how cats behave, and you can see that dogs tend to be, for men like dogs. Dogs, pretty cool. You kind of be there, be loyal to you, be, with you, be your friend. If something attacks, he won't run away. He won't disappoint you. He'll stay right there. He'll bark. He'll attack back. Dogs tend to have courage. Not every dog, that's for sure, but most dogs have courage and do things that guys like. Just, an example. I'm not having dogs myself for a number of reasons, but I like dogs. And although there would be no need to stake my life on anything I might say about dogs, because they would be kind of out of place. When you really want to stake your life on something, pretty rarely. But in your own experience here, your own existence, that's pretty much where you want to go. And so when big questions come, like, is there a God? See, who knows what that is? So unless you know there's a God, you need to take a position, not an approximate position, and say, well, gosh, I think so. There must be something that made all this stuff, but I don't really know. I don't really know. That's being honest. Is there a mother? Is there such a thing? Well, yes, there is. I saved my life. There's a mother. I had a mother. I'm sure about that. I'm sure that I saw, I'm sure. Means, and you want to be, I'm not going to read this up too much more, but you want to be, base, you want to base your time here, and what you do here, what you think about it, what it is, what you conclude. You want to base it on a strong foundation. Some things are good, some things aren't good. Somebody might argue they were good, but you know they're not good, so you say, well, they're not good, and I don't care what you say about them. It's not good. It's not good to tell a child something that's not true and then have a big laugh when they believe you. There's nothing good about that. That's a bad thing. And you know it's a bad thing if you're any kind of a human being. You cringe to see someone do that. Oh, they think it's so funny. What thinks it's funny? Not a human being. Mislead a child when they're growing up. Oh, how could you even think of doing that? And you can be sure that I'm not going to even think about misleading you. I'm not going to do it. I have no wish of any kind to mislead you. I'm only going to tell you, I'm going to share with you the truth of what I've experienced and I know to be true. I know it's true. Okay? So, we're going to start there. That's going to be the end of the first section. I'm going to go on, and I'm going to bring you to some good news. And the news that I'm going to bring you to is I'm going to bring you to show you, I'm going to try to help you go along. You're going to find out for yourself. I'm not going to ram anything down your throat. I'm going to give you some keys and some things to look at, so you can come to your own understanding about come to some real simple, good, real, true answers to what this life is all about. Okay, that's part one. Alright, I'll see you in part two.